So I'm the Chief Compliance Officer at Binance. I joined just about 2 years ago, January of 2023. As Richard Tang, our CEO, has talked about, we've made phenomenal investments in compliance. So I'm leading a team north of 600 people right now worldwide as we ensure that we have best-in-class programs to meet all regulatory rules and expectations around the world.
Fantastic. Thank you. And we're holding Binance Blockchain Week in Dubai this year. What has Dubai and the UAE got so right when it comes to clear guidelines for growing Web3 and the industry?
Yeah, so it's probably a couple things. For me, what sort of marks sort of a better regulatory regimes from worse regulatory regimes are regulators that come to industry with an open mind. Certainly the industry benefits from clear rules of the road, but also from regulators who are interested in working with the industry to collaborate, to sort of build programs and regimes that make sense. Look, at the end of the day, regulators in the industry really should be aligned on sort of first principles. Rules of the road that are best for users, that protect users, and also help grow the industry sensibly, and that's what you see here in the region.
Can you discuss the role of the team in preventing money laundering and ensuring the platform adheres to KYC and AML requirements?
Yeah, so look, there's a lot that goes into it, but if you boil it down, there's really sort of two principal buckets of work that compliance is doing. So one, who are our users? You may have heard the term KYC, know your customer. So one is we want to know who our users are, and then two, what are they doing on the platform? How are they acting? 99.9% of Binance users, and I would argue 99.9% of all crypto users, just want to do the right thing. They're interested in investing, learning about Web3, saving, spending their money, exploring meme coins, whatever it is. You have a very small percentage of people who may be out to do some fraud or do something bad. Those are the people we're trying to keep off the platform because that keeps all users safe. And so what we try to do is put programs and procedures in place that cause minimum friction to the vast majority of great users and try and weed out those few bad apples.
It's incredible. It's no small feat. With the kind of amount that compliance and regulations are in a state of flux regionally, and there's so many regions to cover, it seems like an insurmountable task to some extent. How do you and the team keep on top of it all?
Yeah, no, sometimes it does seem it's difficult for sure, but a number of ways. So one is keeping abreast of all sort of rules and regulations globally. One of the things we talk about Binance on sort of our core values, one of the core values is humility. And that's actually a core value that we import in our approach to regulation. When we come to the regulators, even though we're the most licensed exchange in the world with sort of 20 licenses and regulations, we never come into a local or regional regulator and say, hey, we're the biggest exchange in the world, we know what we're doing, even though we do know what we're doing. We come and say, look, we want to collaborate, we want to make sure we are meeting your expectations, how do we do that? And so that approach, combined with just an incredibly talented array of men and women, tons of experience, help us keep on top of it and make sure that we're doing the right thing for our users.
I mean, it's fascinating to hear about that kind of dialogue with local governments, official bodies. Are they kind of open to Web3, or is this, is it, I guess, the fear of the unknown for some? It must be different approaches for different regions.
Exactly. And you have, in our experience, in my experience, you have the gamut. You will have people across the table who are incredibly skeptical of Web3. They are still skeptical of crypto, maybe not as informed. And then you have regulators who are super knowledgeable, super experienced, and super interested in growing the industry and everything in between. And as I said before, our view is really to come to all of these conversations with the same approach. Let's be collaborative. Let's help educate to the extent that there are regulators who may have preconceived notions or outdated notions about crypto and Web3. Let's not, let's come and help maybe dispel some misconceptions and help them sort of grow the industry in their region.
Yeah, and it's, very important point you touched on there about education. Education is at kind of the forefront of, retail investors, institutional, but then also regulators and government officials. What sort of support and work have you done or do you offer with regulators and governments as they kind of take their first steps?
Yeah, so look, we've got incredible resources here at Binance. So, one of the things we do, again, this idea of humility, coming to those conversations not with the sort of air of, hey, we're the experts, you don't know what you're talking about, but more of a dialogue. What concerns you? We may ask that open-ended question. Oh, if the answer is, well, we're concerned about money laundering or the ability to have anonymous transactions, we then will take them through and say, actually, the blockchain's pretty transparent. Let us show you. And in fact, we've done over 120 law enforcement trainings over the last year. These are trainings where we send people from our team to work with law enforcement to help train how they can do blockchain analytics, how they can trace money flows. It's incredibly valuable to them, incredibly well received. We get kudos all over the world for programs like that.
That's incredible. Coming from a traditional background of compliance, what surprised you most with compliance in the era of Web3?
Yeah, no, great question. And I think probably the biggest surprise change is the speed at which we move in crypto and in Web3. In traditional finance, again, a lot of talented people, but it's been around forever. And so a couple of dynamics that play. One is, you've got these rules and procedures that may have been around for decades. And so when you want to innovate or change them, you're sort of faced against some institutional resistance almost. We've been doing this a long time. Plus, you may not have the tech infrastructure to do it quickly. Here in Web3 at Binance, it's such a new industry, there aren't any sort of preconceived notions of what's the best way to do a particular thing. So if we have a way to innovate to do it better, there's going to be support. And then what's amazing is the tech resources and talent we have to build solutions. So to me, that's is super exciting. I mean, when I think about the future, one of the things I'm most excited about compliance is the role that artificial intelligence will have in terms of making our program more efficient, more effective, more accurate. I'm incredibly bullish on it. And being in Web3 at Binance with all the tech talent we have, I'm excited. I think that we will lead the way in some really creative AI compliance solutions.
See, that is fascinating. I mean, we talk about the theme of this year is momentum. AI is growing at such a rate. How do you see that kind of momentum of AI supporting? Because I guess it would, it would kind of 10x the capacity of what's...
Yeah, so look, one of the very biggest challenges in compliance is filtering signal from noise. I mean, putting it in sort of real world terms, I mean, think about airport security. We screen millions and millions and millions of people. Everyone's taking their shoes off and pouring their water out to catch that one person that may be up to no good. Compliance is the same way. We are burdening millions and millions of people with KYC, with documents, with refresh, transaction monitoring, all to catch those one or two bad apples. So what I'm excited about in AI in the most simplest terms is the ability to filter that signal from that noise, to look at data sets, to be able to look at a pattern of behavior and say, look, in the 1 million, 2 million, 3 million cases of this type of client with this type of transaction, despite the fact that our systems may alert, we know that's a false positive. We don't need to burden that client with a reach out. We don't need to block their user. I mean, again, look, this stuff needs to be validated, but I'm confident that we're on the road there. And there are probably many other use cases as well, but that's the one front of mind.
Fantastic. Noah, thank you so much for your time.
Great.
Really appreciate it.
Great to be here.
Thank you.